Hello, everyone. Mary Esther, Miranda Gilbert here. How's everyone today or tonight, wherever you are in the world? Welcome to my channel. I am a nutritional physiologist, a holistic nutritional healing specialist, and I have been researching botanical medicines and writing about them, producing books and educating the public about them, producing nutritional healing protocols for over 47 years. So I welcome you to my channel. So tonight I'm going to be discussing a couple of things. How tuning forks are being used, how they have been used in the past in the medical system for a very long time, for many decades actually. It's been not something new, but due to the relatively recent scientific research, then more and more practitioners are using the tuning fork. So I'm going to share a little bit of information about that with you. And also another subject I'm going to cover is the National Center for Integrative, Complementary and Integrative Health, and some of the problems that I see that need to be further investigated. And I know it's brand new, and the department is relatively brand new, at least the ones that have been taking over and trying to revamp that whole system. So I see that there is certain things that are being left out, and I don't know if it's on purpose. Who's running the show out back there, right? So there's a lot of things that I find dismaying and also suspect, because I want to make sure that the public is indeed getting transparency and information that has been held back from the public for many, many, many years, right? So I'd like to kind of give you a little preamble of what my view of the world is right now. So first question I want to ask everybody is everybody okay? Are you guys okay out there? There's so much chaos going on in the world. You know, we see and hear all these daily reveals of all these world events. Some things are very alarming, some things are very puzzling, some things are very mysterious, and we just want to demand that we get the truth, and we want to know what the real information is. And sometimes because of national security and all kinds of other reasons that we're fed, who knows what's the truth and who isn't. So people are having a problem with trying to figure out who's telling us the truth. So all we can do is try to gather as much information and hone our discernment and learn as we go along, and realize that we are evolving too in how we take in information. We're not the naive population that we were, maybe a couple of generations ago. But, this is the kind of thing that people are worried about. And what I maintain is just stay healthy. That way you're more grounded within yourself and your inner calm and your ability to reason with logic and not get stressed out and not get upset so easily. We are all very concerned about where we're going in this world, right? Things seem to be in quite an uproar. But as we manage our physical health, it's going to affect our relationships, our work, and the personal attention that we have to our own psychological and mental and spiritual health. So the last thing we need is to hear alarming happenings in the world, right? So we can get pretty comfortable, in our daily life management if we just want to ignore everything, even whether we're happy with our lives or not. A daily routine has become predictable, and there's some comfort in that. It's not always a healthy thing to do, as we know. Some people may feel stuck or stagnated, maybe even bored or lonely. So the last thing an already anxious person needs is to hear about war and death and destruction, or the fall of our money system, with all these unsatisfactory promises of gold-backed currency or real physical wealth, kind of thing, imminent, but yet it keeps being put out into the future. And so that's causing a lot of stress and anxiety for the population. To further raise people's fears, all these disclosures have been circulating in both the mainstream and alternative news communities that are now slowly being leaked by the government. So more and more information is in alignment with people who have had experience, the experiencers, and people who have been able to come forward as witnesses and that kind of thing. So it seems to be a convergence of the government finally coming around to releasing information that much of the population has known for a long time. So, these kinds of things can create quite a bit of turmoil within our bodies, and we don't realize how much it's affecting our physical bodies. So So, it could be we could deal with all of this and maintain our sense of who we are. But sometimes that's sometimes something we could question, right? Occasionally we think, well, just who am I? What am I doing? What am I doing here? Kind of thing. So, do we close ourselves off from completely from things that could very well affect all these massive changes on the way we think and learn and live, or do we make ourselves strong and resilient and aware while maintaining this healthy distance, as just wise observers and not falling into the trap of being dragged into various beliefs? So people have been programmed to be so vulnerable, and so they gather information and they absorb it into their own beliefs. And that's what creates so much conflict, because everyone wants to be right, because it's a matter of mental comfort, psychological comfort. So when that's disrupted, and people get upset, right? So I find that maintaining a spiritual connection to and trusting in God, who resides in our souls, in honoring the body temple, our physical bodies, with extraordinary nourishment, always being mindful in gratitude, compassion, and love. I think these are the foundations that keeps people calm and determined, especially not to keep living in fear and in this mental lack, right? So, I always assert that being in optimal health vibrancy is the key to remaining of sound body and mind, and in alignment with spirituality and divine guidance. So being in tune with this flow of energy that goes through the body, which is the same kind of flow in all of creation itself. There's this infinite vastness of all that there is. No matter what's presented to us, we remain steadfast in our strength and with the most powerful force in the universe, which is, of course, love. So that all comes down to loving one another, loving and forgiving ourselves, and loving the world and contributing to the world with in the name of love, right? So that we can all help each other. Human beings are so heroic. When there are tragedies or emergencies, people are always coming forward and just exhibiting the heroism that's innate in all of us. So we have to keep that in mind. We have to keep that in mind so that we can create a better world. So even through this chaos, this so-called storm, So, I mean, come what may, everything that's happening I think, is for reasons beyond comprehension, because we're here in this third dimensional reality with only limited amounts of senses. And so there's so much more beyond ourselves. And the more we learn about the universe and the frequencies at which it vibrates and the forces of nature that are universal, understanding those forces helps us understand our own bodies and our own minds and our own spirits. So all we can do is just trust and persevere with our life missions. Everyone should find themselves a life mission. It makes life so much more interesting, but it also makes life so much more meaningful. Our life missions is going to satisfy the soul. So if you feel compelled to carry something out and to get involved with something, make sure that you're totally passionate about it, that you're suited to it, you're gifted at it. You may not think so, but others may notice that you are indeed gifted at something. So, I think everyone should pursue those kinds of interests so that their life is meaningful and they interact with people who are on the same mindset, on the same plane, so to speak. So let's all, gather ourselves and gather our forces and help each other and help ourselves. Just keep developing and growing and try to maintain that objectivity, and also the just being able to sit back and be the observer rather than being dragged into all these different beliefs and propaganda and all the things that are thrown at us all of the time. So I just wanted to say that little tidbit for you. So let's get into the sound therapy, the tuning fork efficacy. I'm going to share my screen really quickly here for you. All right, so you're going to see my document here. So this is taken from the True Health Mastery Institute of Holistic Personal Health Management, the True Health Journal newsletter. Those of you who are not subscriber members, then you get a kind of Reader's Digest summarization of what's in this newsletter. But as far as the members go, then they get access to this PDF document and all kinds of other perks, which I'll explain later if you haven't heard me describe what it's like to be a member of the Institute. So the newsletter is free with membership, and it's very, very affordable, but I'll go over all that later. While I'm thinking about it, if so far you've seen my other videos and you have perused my website and things like that, please give my videos a like and share if you can, because people do need this information out there. They desperately are looking for the truth in how to manage their health. They've been led down the wrong alleys, down this maze of misinformation for too long, and their health just isn't improving the way they wish it would. So over the years, with all of my research and experience and practice, and continuing with research, I'll never stop, because science is always coming up with more and more information about this wonderful human body of ours and the wonderful nutritional healing kind of arena. So, this is something that if you feel compelled to do, please do so. It helps YouTube put this video, all the videos that I have, every time someone presses the like button, then it's put in front of more people. And so I am trying to get the word out, get the true health movement word out, because there's so much misinformation out there. And I give you the truth, the scientific truth, and I always back that up with my own experiences in practice over the years. Alrighty, so tuning fork uses, they've been used by conventional medicine for a very long time. It's nothing new in the medical system. Doctors used to use them regularly all the time, and they kind of fell by the wayside in the medical practice system. But the holistic practitioners have kind of picked up and where they left off, and have started using the tuning forks for quite some time now. It's not something new, but I think everyone should know the more about the healing energies, energy healing, and instruments that are using different frequencies to heal the human body. It's like the new functional medicine or the new energy medicine. So I think people need to know about that as well. It's not, the nutritional healing is extremely important. And, I've produced enough videos and books already on the subject. And of course, I'm always covering it with new information that I learn all the time about the wonderful plant kingdom that is so healing for us. But I thought I would look into a very simple healing instrument, that even a person can buy for themselves and heal, or align their frequencies themselves. I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. I just wanted to put that out there right away. Okay, so they're used to test nerve functions in neuropathy, screening bone conductivity responses, patient's reflexes, the patient's ability to feel mechanical vibration. So, in clinical practice, practitioners are using tuning forks. And I guess the medical system is starting to turn back to the tuning forks, because they're an excellent tool for diagnosis. For instance, 128 hertz tuning fork is used for diabetic peripheral neuropathy screening by putting the vibrating fork on bony prominences like the toe or the ankle, or the elbow or the knee. Tuning forks are used, they're just a time-proven systems like the RIN and the Weber tests. Those are well known. They're used to differentiate between conductive hearing loss in the ear canal or the eardrum, and also sensory neural hearing loss due to problems with the auditory nerve. So they have very many varied uses. So there's different frequencies, the 128 hertz, 256, and 512 hertz are the more commonly used ones. All right, so, the tuning fork therapy, quote unquote, is primarily complementary therapy nowadays, even though scientific journals provide plenty of evidence supporting its underlying mechanisms. When it's applied to the body, the tuning forks trigger the parasympathetic nervous system to decrease muscle tension and reduce perceived pain, aiding in stress relief and pain management. So a vibrating fork is placed on localized muscles or joints, and it stimulates the proprioceptors and mechanoreceptors in the body, which sensory input can override pain signals, nitric oxide. So localized vibration has been shown to stimulate endothelial cells to release the signaling molecule nitric oxide, which expands blood vessels, improves local circulation, and battles degenerative cellular oxidative stress. So listening to specific frequencies, such as contained in the tuning forks, may guide brain activity into relaxed states that are like alpha relaxation or theta meditation brain waves. Vibrations stimulate the vagus nerve to shift out of the fight or flight state of mind or state of physical response and into the rest and digest state, which is more calm and autonomic, which rapidly lowers stress and reduces cortisol hormone levels, which is the stress reaction inflammatory hormone. So the 128 hertz, for instance, is frequently applied to joints, bones, and trigger points for relief of localized pain, muscular tension, just to promote tissue relaxation. Now, the 432 hertz and the 528 hertz acoustic soundscapes are highly associated with relaxation, reduced anxiety, and improved sleep quality. So as you can see, I listed the scientific references there, the text citations, so that you can see at the end of this document, those of you who have access to this newsletter. So research indicates that resonance vibratory devices such as tuning fork massage tools significantly reduce pain for at least 8 weeks in patients with tension and cluster type headaches. 64 hertz and 128 hertz tuning fork frequencies are used primarily in neurological diagnosis for evaluating bone conduction and vibratory sensation. Research shows how these frequencies detect axonal, peripheral neuropathy and measure proprioception, or the body's ability to perceive its position in space, enabling balanced movement, which is critical for diagnosing and managing neurological and musculoskeletal conditions. And here's a little image diagram that shows how peripheral neuropathy can create nerve damage. The square on the left has the fatty acid protective coating on the nerve cell that gets destroyed. Stress will wear things down, or eating the wrong, foods that aren't nourishing, whose molecular structures have been distorted and altered, like the trans fats, the heated oils, the fried foods, or any other synthetics that affect the nervous system. So here's a healthy cell. As you can see, it has these axon coatings along the nerve fiber. And so this is only one of our multiple trillions of, nerve cells that send communication impulses throughout the body. But pretty much, that's what a healthy nerve cell should look like. So the idea is to constantly, nourish ourselves properly every single day, get our rest, get our hydration, and, manage our stress, and just work to have ourselves a better life so that our nerves are preserved, right? So the 512 hertz is a mid-range frequency considered as the gold standard by audiologists for accurate screening and hearing loss. The tuning fork is a crucial part of the cranial nerves and auditory examination, and has been proven to be highly useful for detecting and diagnosing hearing disorders, as well as aiding in the diagnosis of other medical conditions. So the use of tuning forks can be traced back to the 16th century, when practitioners were beginning to gain knowledge that these instruments could be invaluable for hearing loss and other nerve disorder diagnostics. So this is what the scientists are reporting, and there's the scientific citation there, Iranian in 2024 and his cohorts in this scientific work. So in the alternative health modalities, the tuning forks are also used frequently in different modalities, which proponents state that specific sound frequencies promote relaxation, alter brain waves, soothe the nervous system, and reduce stress. These are the assertions that practitioners in the alternative health community have discovered and associated and correlated and documented, right? All this empirical evidence. But a lot of the scientific research and also the experiences of centuries of doctors have also gathered the same information. So, further empirical and anecdotal or subjective experiences have been gathered over decades. They correlate with tuning fork frequencies, having a positive effect on one's biofield. This is supposed to be the energy field that surrounds the human body, extends, many feet out, and this is like a protective field that is also can be damaged, because of illness or any kind of psychological or mental kind of disruptions, and how ill the physical body is. So all of that. So we have to vibrate it at the wellness frequencies, the frequencies that are considered to be resonating in one's body at measured rates that are referred to a healthier person. So a person who is not as healthy is not vibrating at a higher frequency as a healthy person would be. So more research is needed to confirm what practitioners in the field have long witnessed. So when you start gathering, years and years and centuries, generations of all of this empirical data, it's nice to see that scientific research in their very high, rigid standardization on how an objective study should be performed, they are also confirming, all of this empirical data. So there was a virtual study actually that was conducted by 5 certified biofield tuning practitioners through a Zoom call on participants with moderate to high levels of anxiety. And so they were tested with this generalized anxiety disorder test screening tool. And so their anxiety was, they were going to be examining the feasibility and effectiveness of biofield-based sound healing tuning fork instrumentation. So the data on their anxiety, their perceived stress, and positive or negative experiences, their spiritual experience effects, and quality of life were all obtained through these validated surveys, linguistic inquiry, and qualitative interviews. So they were interviewed, and the people expressed what they were experiencing, that kind of thing. So the linguistic and word count analysis qualitative data, so scientists can compile all of this, even word of mouth or personal experiences. So they can also compile this into data. And word count analysis qualitative data, which is interesting, showed a decrease in participants' use of negative words over the course of intervention. So we can talk ourselves into depression. We can talk ourselves into, self-defeating thoughts, thoughts that help, that make the body produce stress chemicals, in turn, cause physiological damage. I'm glad the scientists considered that a very important part of their research. So the results in this biofield therapy study may indicate that it may be substantial in reducing anxiety and improving mental health. So more studies are needed to produce the same kind of results, because one study is all well and good, but it's not going to establish a scientific fact, right? So more scientists need to delve into this kind of research and see what kind of results they come up with. So, this data at least is now in the database. So this data will be used for further research using a randomized controlled trial to more deeply explore the effects of biofield therapy for healing the whole person who suffers from anxiety. So that was this particular study's conclusive result. Okay, so while scientific journals have documented the medical science practice of the vagus nerve stimulation, that's the nerve that goes from the colon or the large intestine, that environment, to the brain. So there's a communication pathway that goes between there, and that particular nerve is called the vagus nerve. So, when they stimulate this vagus nerve for conditions like epilepsy, inflammation, depression, the application of vibrational sound therapy through the use of tuning forks falls under complementary medicine as opposed to mainstream medical literature. So the alternative practitioners are taking a step further than with the medical community in their limited allowed practices, right? So although doctors, 200 years ago probably didn't have so many restraints on how they should practice medicine. So in complementary health modalities, the use of various tuning forks that resonate at various frequencies has all these purported uses. So they assert that nervous system regulation using 128 hertz and 136.1 hertz tuning forks are claimed to stimulate the vagus nerve. So, they see the effects of the reaction or the correlation. It's not a scientific conclusion, but they do have seen the correlations that they seem to trigger something in the parasympathetic nervous system and the digestive system, how the brain talks to the digestive system via the vibrational frequency sent out through the living bacteria in the colon. It's all very fascinating. I do have another video on this channel that describes that very well. So, they, in order to balance the body's vibrational frequency, they have found that it induces that rest and digest, energy conserving, healing state of being. Reducing stress and anxiety and heart rate are reports from thousands of recipients of these frequencies when the practitioners apply the use of these forks on their bodies, and also for pain relief. And that's something that's very, very reported, that's very common. Also, some of the tuning forks have been used for myofascial release using 32, 64, and 128 hertz tuning forks. So, they're used in a lot of the bodywork practitioners. Some of them are using it for tissue and fascia release. That's manual therapy technique applied onto the connective tissue surrounding the face muscles and the nerves and the bones, and to decongest the fascia, and reduce localized inflammation. Also, vibrational resonance. The activated fork is placed on the skin or the muscle and transfer a continuous vibration into the body. So they do resonate, for a few minutes or seconds, depending on, what tuning fork they're using, what frequency they're using. So once it stops vibrating, then the practitioner moves it to other areas or reapplies it to the same area. So that's generally how they're used. Also, they claim that it's used for tissue softening, stimulates the sensory receptors of touch, pressure, and vibration, causing the relaxation of tight muscles and decreasing perception of pain. So fluid flow is purported to help improve localized circulation and lymphatic drainage, aiding in moving metabolic waste out of the body and softening facial scar tissue. Pain relief, vibratory analgesia, so it's like a pain reliever without any medication or anything else. So it's a vibratory resonance kind of frequency. A vibrating fork is placed on muscles, tendons, joints, and the mechanical sound waves trigger the release of endorphins, natural painkillers that the body releases, improves local circulation, and it's said to ease chronic back and musculoskeletal pain. So I thought it was really interesting how the medical system has been using them based on scientific evidence and, of course, their own, empirical data and their own reports. And also, because they write white papers and they submit them to databases, and that is a lot of times the basis for further scientific study. So a white paper written by a practitioner is not a finalized conclusion of any scientific fact. It's just what they've been documenting in their patients and what they have observed, just like these other alternative practitioners have been doing. Okay, so, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the other subject that I wanted to cover really quickly with you. So we have this new National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health that replaces the Complementary and Alternative Medicine website in the government. So it's no longer a CAM, it's now the NCCIH. So yes, it's brand new, and the new administration is doing their best to put together and release more information to the public. And so I can tell that they are doing their best to stay organized, but I see that they also have a ways to go to evolve into providing the right knowledge to the public. And so their databases are just brand new. They are using older databases as well, but for the most part, they're just establishing themselves. And what they're missing, what I keep seeing over and over again, is that no one is talking about botanical medicines. They mention it maybe once, but they don't expound on it. They don't refer the public to any kind of a database. So I have that database. I've been researching and compiling information, evidence-based nutritional healing protocols for people for 47 years now. And I continue to learn. I continue to research, and it's something that I'm compelled and very passionate about. Obviously, I've been doing it for 47 years. But when I look back on my knowledge, even 10, 20 years ago, I've learned so much more, and I just want to share this information to the public because it's badly needed. And so that's what I see that's missing in these government archives. I probably will contact them at some point and let them know my work and see if I can contribute to that. But you have to be very careful because there are still vestiges of, even though they're trying to clean things up and turn over any kind of corruption, I still hesitate in this transitional period as far as who can I really trust with that kind of information. So it gets a little bit complicated when you want to share your knowledge with the government. I'd much rather share my knowledge with the public, to you out there. It's a lot better. It's not. I don't think anyone out there would do the kind of corruptive things about this information. So even though it's looking promising in the government, it's still not. I haven't earned my trust completely yet. But yeah, I do see that problem. So if you're going to these databases and you don't feel like you're turning up any information of consequence right now, then it's because they're not finished, or they're naive, and they're not educated enough to realize that the botanical world is the fundamental kind of thing you need to do for your health. And so it's just not there. So I had to, when I was compiling my books on the different botanicals of the world and their healing properties, I had to consult with the whole entire World Wide Web. I dug into very deeply into these labyrinths of scientific research, reviews in all of these thousands of scientific journals. And over a course of many years, I was able to pick and choose or pick and gather, the factual data on what the scientists have found and what these botanicals and their phytochemical compounds do for the body. So this is ongoing study. I'm always surprised that there are more and more research going on. There's more and more research going on these botanicals. So there's always something new to learn. So, that's why I created my nutritional synergy system, because it actually divides food groups even further than this brand new, upside down pyramid that the government just came up with. So knowing what these nutrient factors are in botanicals and animal-derived proteins and, whole food carbohydrates and the enzymes that activate all of the nutrients in these foods. That's why I advocate raw foods, cooking foods as well and good, and they taste good, right? But it's not going to have the healing qualities that raw enzyme active, light energy frequency active foods do. So I'm always talking about that, and I have videos all over this YouTube channel. If you want to just explore the channel, you'll learn so much more. People who have followed me for years have bought my books and have listened to my speeches, my lectures. They know more than most medical doctors. They know more than some of the scientists, because the scientists, groups of scientists are kind of they're limited to their own specific kind of scientific research. And yes, it's wonderful to contribute to the vast database of knowledge. Many different scientists all over the world have contributed their contribution to knowledge, this vast knowledge base. But I don't think that any one scientist is going to have explored so many of the different kinds of botanicals and what other scientists throughout the world have done, unless it applies to their research, right? So following my YouTube channel, you're getting the benefit of all of the information that I have pulled out from all of these databases and all of these studies over the years, compiled them into my books. And I do have a course that goes with my nutritional synergy system. So there's a course that I offer there too. I'll show you on my website. But so I am trying to educate the public in ways that the government hasn't been able to do and probably won't be able to do for quite a while. So you can sidestep, a lot of what they're trying to put together right now, and get down to the real nitty-gritty of healing your body, of nourishing your body, I should say. Like I said, I'm not a medical doctor and I don't prescribe, treat, blah, blah, blah. Right? To me, that's irrelevant, because when you have nourishment, then you have the real substances that your DNA recognizes in order to be able to repair things at the cellular level, all 39 trillions of our cells that compose the entire body. When you get that kind of information from the foods, the botanicals and other quality, items, then you're going to have the benefit of cellular repair, proper cellular regeneration, proper cellular functioning. And so, that's what this channel is all about, and that's what everything that I do, all of the educational materials that I put out is all about. So anyhow, I just, for the members, those of you who prescribe to the newsletter, it's a free newsletter to True Health Master Institute members. So once you join as a member, you automatically get the newsletter every 2 weeks or every, twice a month. I put it out. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce to you a little bit about what the NCCIH is doing. I do have a little bit of I have to voice my exception to their assertions of what their use of the terms alternative and integrative and complementary. So those were afterthoughts that the medical industrial complex kind of slapped on to holistic modalities and holistic, like botanicals, nutritional, kind of health improvement protocols kind of thing. So we had to be more careful back then with the language that we used, so that the medical system and the puppet masters didn't get upset with us. So there's a lot of very sinister and very violently reactive things that have been documented. So I think that we are in much safer waters now, but not quite. We still have to see what's going on. We have to kind of observe and make sure that everything we say and do is backed by intense medical research, and to be careful with some of the verbiage that we do. Otherwise, my channel gets taken down. That's happened before. So the three terms that I think people need to understand the differences, because I'm sure you've heard the term, alternative medicine or alternative health, or integrative, medicine or integrative health, and complementary medicine, complementary health, that kind of thing. So there are differences. I think they're misleading because they're not defined enough. So all these global scientific findings, they're confirming hundreds, thousands of years of nutritional healing knowledge. They've been meticulously documented in some of the medical books. There's alternative or other medical systems in the world that the allopathic medical industrial complex has labeled as alternative, as though it's an afterthought, when indeed it's a much older medical system based on botanical medicine. So the documentation of the causes and effects and how these botanicals work in the body were documented in what are called materia medica. This is a Latin term for medical texts of cultures of the world. So a lot of these cultures, when someone says, "Oh, you're an alternative medicine practitioner," they say, "Oh, so you mean the Western medicine?" So the term alternative, since the allopathic conventional medical system is barely over 200 years old, they can hardly be so arrogant as to term the ancient medical texts and other medical systems as alternative. So they were the fundamental, basic way humankind got through where we are today. So our medical system is pretty young, and it was founded on enforcing the prescribing of harmful drugs and the often violent oppression of time-proven nutritional healing practices with botanical medicines. Time-proven, and now they are scientifically validated. That's what I was so excited about when I first started this kind of work back in 1979, as I discovered that these practices had been time-proven by the ancient practitioners, but scientists were coming forward and trying to disprove these so-called old wives' tales, or these medicine systems that they didn't recognize or didn't know anything about. So they'd say, "Okay, let's take this botanical and that botanical, and let's see what it does." And lo and behold, they were impressed by the results they were finding as they applied them in their scientific work. So over the years, since 1979, I have seen the scientific community improve their knowledge and be more advocates of the botanical world. So that's very exciting to me. So most medical practitioners up until recent years have been schooled to reject any concept of botanical medicines, and many have been threatened with the loss of licensing or in their careers or worse. Some of them have had life-threatening, implications, keeping them in grips under the puppet master factions, those are my words, that have controlled the entire medical industrial complex since its beginnings. So its beginnings goes back, a couple of centuries at least. Most medical practitioners have therefore been greatly discouraged for implementing any integrative holistic medical care, keeping them in obedience out of fear and remaining grossly misinformed. That's been my experience in dealing with medical practitioners, although it's been a gradual improvement in their open-mindedness because they cannot deny the scientific research, and they cannot deny how their patients get well from their admitted use of alternatives. I found that to be true in my own practice of 30 years when my clients would go back to their doctors, in health recovery, and their doctors would be perplexed. They'd say, well, I don't know what you're doing, but just keep doing what you're doing. And okay, I will wean you off your drugs, kind of thing. So, of course, I never told my clients to wean themselves off the drugs. That can be very dangerous. So doctors are trained in how to wean the patients off the drug without any kind of dangerous, side effects. So the fact that there's dangerous side effects is very bothersome, right? So people need to know what their options are. So it's not often that holistic approaches to health management are necessarily complementary. So, it's not like you're using the medical system and the botanicals in all of the decades of proven scientific research can be termed complementary. So you can use them side by side, of course, but the term complementary is used in a context and intonation that really, if you pick up on the subtleness of it, it's really an attitude that, okay, yeah, that's just something extra, but in the meantime, let me prescribe you these drugs kind of attitude, right? So most medical courses of action are invasive and sometimes avoidable when an authentically healing nutritional protocol can be implemented. And that's something that I have documented and have been witness to for 47 years. So when clients integrated their evidence-based nutritional protocols with their medications, their physicians witnessed more rapid health recoveries as they wean their patients off the prescribed drugs. So, in the research that I've been doing for 47 years, I never came across any kind of substantial evidence that showed that there were dangerous drug-nutrient interactions, unless they were isolated nutrients, synthetic nutrients especially. So if you take something in synergy in a whole food with many augmenting and counterbalancing and balancing nutrients, then that's not going to have the same effect at all. Much safer to do that. So the thing that's dangerous are not the nutrients. The thing that's dangerous is the side effects of these drugs. So I have found that clients can take their medications more safely if they're well nourished, and the body picks and chooses how to repair itself. Medications don't do any nutrient repairing work, but the nutrients that patients were, just incorporating into their daily lives actually did improve their health. So, the body is very wise that way. It's programmed. Our genetic code has very specific instructions on what nutrients and what molecular configurations of those nutrients are acceptable and are compatible for maintaining the body. All right, so, that is a couple of things. So I covered alternative and integrative. It's a little bit more polite, and a little bit more respectful as far as integrating, the prescription drugs with any kind of holistic modality, not just nutrition. So by integrating, the different modalities, then you're going to have a pretty good outcome as well. So there are many wonderful energy healing modalities, for instance, that we covered with the tuning forks and different kinds of functional medicines, which basically is nutritional, functional botanicals, functional foods kind of thing. Okay, so I think that's pretty much what I'm going to cover. The rest I'm going to leave for the members to peruse. And I do want to show everyone out there, though, the my reference sources. I always collect all these reference sources as I'm compiling the newsletter. So everything I say and do is evidence-based, scientific research-based, and usually they are peer-reviewed studies, and so yeah, you can even click on some of these links, members, and go to see what these scientists actually did in much greater detail. Very impressive work these scientists are doing. They're phenomenal. They're amazing. Okay, so I just wanted to show you. Now, I do have these different books that I have written. Nutritional Synergy, like I said, is my nutritional system. And it's unlike any other in the world because I've done the research. I put together the most nutritious eating food system in the world because I have literally checked the World Wide Web for the healthiest diets. But this has been the most effective nutritional system. And so, yeah, I have a course that's associated with the book that you can also enroll in it on my website. And Potent Superfoods for Lifelong True Health. That's actually the first volume of subsequent volumes I'll be writing. This one has 109 botanicals, and the scientific research that I put together in this book will definitely educate a person as to what botanicals they can use to apply for their own health. Specific body systems that these phytonutrient complexes in these plants have the affinity for the body. And I also wrote a fitness book, and it's actually a weight loss book because when I started bodybuilding back in the 70s and 80s, I still train with weights because I find that it's the best way to maintain enough lean body mass so that your metabolism stays up, so that you don't gain body fat. So body fat is important for our health, but excess body fat is not. And the True Health Mastery book is kind of like an introduction to not just my work, but the holistic field, what it's like to apply holistic health principles, especially my nutritional synergy system. So this is a good primer for people who are brand new to the concept. And I also wrote a book on supplements some time back. It was written quickly for a friend of mine who's a fitness trainer, and he didn't know what supplements to offer his clients. So I just wrote a booklet, and I was just going to provide him with the information. It ended up being a book, so I went ahead and published it. I dedicated the book to him, though. But anyway, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I have a Rumble channel, and it's supposed to transfer all my YouTube channel videos to Rumble, but I don't see it doing that very well, so I have to investigate that. But, sometimes when I've gotten kicked off of YouTube for, violating their terms that I feel are quite outdated and unreasonable when it comes to the kind of work that I do. So fine, put me on probation for 5 days. I'll be back. But anyway, Rumble doesn't do that to anyone. It's more of a free speech, First Amendment right kind of place to put your videos. So those are the books that I've written so far. There are some in the works right now. I'm writing a book on doing extensive research, compiling the scientific research done on botanicals that have been shown to destroy cancer cells. And most of them are from laboratory, cancer cells in vitro, but much more work is being done as more is permitted, in this field, to have scientists use human test subjects. There have been human test subjects used, and I certainly include them in my cancer protocol book. So that's being put together right now, and it's taking a lot longer than I anticipated because being the tenacious, diligent person that I am, I have to do my best to put this book out to the world and make sure that it's going to be very, very useful for everyone. Okay, so let me go ahead and take you to the website very quickly so that you know where I am. Where did it go? I need to enlarge this here. Okay, so holisticchoices.com is my home base. It's the hub of everything I do. And if you have questions, you can contact me. It'll come into my email box. This is about me, my credentials and, my hobbies, things I love to do in life. My philosophy, no, not that much, but still, it's just, if you want to know about me, there it is. True Health Mastery Institute is what this video is about. So, like I said, I put the True Health Journal newsletter out twice a month. So if you'd like to become a member and get the complete newsletter, then you have access to the PDF document uh, from your membership site. So if you'd like to join, you can just click here, join here. And of course, that's holisticchoices.com/True Health Mastery Institute, which is the link that I clicked on here. So anyway, it lists all of the perks and the advantages of being a member. So yeah, I'm just on this mission to provide this information, this life-saving information, to as many people as I can. So there's a lot of perks. You get discounts on all kinds of things. Okay. So yeah, this is another joining button here. Also, let's see, I think I wanted to show you my books and my course. Okay, so I just showed you the photographs of the books. And if you click on each one of these, you'll be taken to the Amazon website where you can order the book. And also, if you click on the ebook version, you'll get it in Kindle form. And also, let's see, where's my course? Online course. Okay, so the Nutritional Synergy System has an online course associated with it. You can either buy the course or buy the book or both. I recommend getting both because there's different information in each one. Fundamentally, I take you through pretty much the system itself, but there's a lot of information that's in both of those that together would double your knowledge, kind of thing. So you can click on course descriptions and you'll see what the modes are, the modules are. So it'll give you the titles of all the different modules, which pretty much match the chapters. So you can follow along sort of in the book and listen to the videos on each module. Okay, so yeah, you can enroll at any time. And it doesn't have a time limitation. I decided not to put that in there because I know people are busy, but once they pay for the course, then it's yours to access, for as long as you need it to. And you get a certificate of completion when you're finished. Alrighty, so that's pretty much it. So if you're still with me, or if you've stopped the video and came back to it later, I do that sometimes, and either I fall asleep when I'm settling down to watch a video, or, I just don't have time to watch the whole one and I come back to it. That's one good thing about YouTube. It marks where you left off. So that's always good, right? But it's better if you just listen to the whole thing and, it's just your health investment, this time that you're putting in to listen to these videos. These are life-saving videos, life-saving information because they help you avoid the degenerative disease process. They build your knowledge so that you're not easily snowed by misinformation or disinformation or propaganda. You can have a greater level of discernment and be much more educated when it comes to managing your health and avoiding the trap of the disease process. So again, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it. And so I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.